Hello, and welcome to my live video call. My name is Chad Allen, and today we are going to be discussing a very controversial topic. Is hydroxychloroquine really an effective drug, especially in the current pandemic, the COVID-19 or SARS-CoV-2? So, the purpose of this particular live video call is not to be political, not to take sides, but to present to you um, studies that will prove uh, if it is effective or not. So I have a lot of personal opinions about whether it's effective. You can probably see my comments in other areas as well, and you know, the history behind this drug is that it's been around for a very long time. And the coronavirus has been around for thousands of years. And every so often it mutates and there becomes a new part of the coronavirus family. So back in 2005, which the study that a lot of people reference, that was SARS-CoV. Well, this one is SARS-CoV-2. So there are a lot of similarities when it comes to the coronavirus. And it's not a new virus by any stretch of the imagination. It's just that it has mutated a little bit and has now caused something different. And it's causing very specific types of symptoms for a certain group of people. So let's go ahead and get started, and let's see what these studies are. But I'm not going to go through a lot of studies. There are thousands and thousands of studies on hydroxychloroquine. You can find a lot of them and their support for certain types of diseases, autoimmune diseases, especially malaria. And there's some new studies that are going against the idea of hydroxychloroquine. So I'm just going to touch on a couple of them, and then I will give you a conclusion into what I believe where we should be looking at as far as hydroxychloroquine. So if this video is very important to you, if you get value out of it, please share it with your friends and family, and so that we can really get the word out and share positive and vital information for those who are wanting to hear it. So this is the whole idea of this live call. So let's start with the first study. So a lot of people base off their study the reason why hydroxychloroquine is an effective treatment for the current pandemic, the SARS-CoV-2. This study really began when, as most people know, as the French study that was done several months ago. And in that, what he showed was the positive effects of how hydroxychloroquine went in conjunction with azithromycin and zinc. So when all three of those are taken together, that it creates a positive. It gives off a positive reaction. In other words, people get healed from the COVID-19 and stuff like that. And his success rate was around, I believe, what I saw, like around 92%, success rate in all age groups. So that's a pretty significant study for a very short time frame, where he treated over 1,000, or they treated over 1,000 patients and had a 92% success rate when using hydroxychloroquine, azithromycin, and zinc. Well, this created a whole storm of backlash and also positive, those who are for, those who are against, because if you know the politics and why it became that way. I'm not going to get into it, but then what really happened was the VA study came out, the Veteran Affairs study, and they were treating people with azithromycin and hydroxychloroquine, but it did not appear from what I read in the study. I might be wrong, that they were not also giving the people zinc. And not only that, but they were also giving people the hydroxychloroquine and the azithromycin in late stage of their fight against the coronavirus. So in other words, a lot of these people were on ventilators. A lot of these people were already advanced in the stage, and it showed that there was great failure in the effectiveness of hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin against this. So the death rate was very, very high. It showed that people were having other issues when it starts coming to like heart rhythm issues and other types of things. And so there was also a lot of backlash against that study just because of what I just said of, oh, you gave it at late stage and stuff like that. So then what happens is people start referencing this 2005 study, which was done, I think, mostly in vitro, meaning that it was done on a plate. And it showed that chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine are very, very similar. They both treat malaria. They're both prophylactic in that area. However, hydroxychloroquine tends to be the safer drug that people use for this very purpose. And hydroxychloroquine tends to be something that you are going to use for lupus and other types of autoimmune disease, and also for other antiviral potentials. So this 2005, people are really referencing this 2005 study. They say it came from the National Institute of Health, which I don't see where it came from, the National Institute of Health, because I think they reference it and they put it on their site for a reference point. But I don't believe it was. Sanctioned by the National Institute of Health. So now there are other studies starting to come out, and they're showing similar results. As far as some are showing results that are really positive, but a lot of people are being helped by hydroxychloroquine, while others studies are showing that there is no effect and it's actually very, very harmful. So you have to look at these particular studies and really see the middle. Now, the latest study that just came out, you can see on my you can see it on my blog at chadallan.net. That's CHADALLAN.net, or chadallan.pro, CHADALLEN.pro. One is EN, the other one's AN. And it's .net, and the other one's .pro. So you can read it more, and you can actually link. I got links to these studies within the blog article, so you can check them out for yourself. So you don't have to believe what I believe. You can check them out for yourself and do your own research, which you should be doing anyway, if you are wanting to gain more knowledge into this area and not allow the political scene to dictate what you believe and not believe. So, okay, so let's go back. The most recent study we are looking at tested, let me see here. It I can't remember how many it tested. I did not write it down. I didn't look before I came up, but it tested hundreds and hundreds of cases, and in this study they showed how hydroxychloroquine, when given in I guess the higher doses and stuff like that, it was actually showing a negative effect against those who were being treated for the coronavirus, and it was very negative. But what I saw with the study also is that they did, and just like the other the veteran affairs studies, they didn't really do the trio. They didn't do the hydroxychloroquine, the azithromycin, and the zinc all together. They just did the hydroxychloroquine, or they just did the hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin. But for some odd reason, I don't know why. Maybe they did use zinc as well, but they just didn't put it in there because their main focus was on hydroxychloroquine. So these were negative studies that came out against hydroxychloroquine. So when I look at these particular studies, there are for and against. We have to look at both sides of it and not really take hydroxychloroquine is so bad it doesn't work. Hydroxychloroquine is so great, it's like the best thing ever and it's gonna cure this, and this. So we really have to take it into the middle and see it for what it really is, because the truth is hydroxychloroquine does work. It works for many things. If you think it works against malaria, or it acts as a prophylactic against malaria, whereas the one study said that it inhibits the growth of SARS-CoV, then you know that it will also inhibit the growth of SARS-CoV-2 and other viral entities, because that's what it does. So it acts very similar as a prophylactic, so to speak. So, but we also know that according to these studies, that we have to be careful. Just like any drug, any synthetic drug that you take in, you are going to you have to be careful with what you take, because any synthetic drug that you take into your body could potentially have a negative effect. So when you look at these negative studies and you see them for what they are, and it said hydroxychloroquine causes greater harm, well, that could be the case if given at a much higher dose, or you're giving it to somebody, it might be contraindicated too, because it is causing that kind of damage to them. Whereas someone who is taking the hydroxychloroquine and they have no contraindications to it, they don't have any heart problems or anything like that, and when they take it, it works great for them. It's perfect for them. And so you have two conflicting sides, and people say, "Oh, it doesn't work," and it doesn't work. Well, we look at the middle and understand that you have to look in between and not allow the politics to get involved, because when we look, when we look at the middle, then we can see in a more clearer picture of what we are, of what it really is, what hydroxychloroquine really does for us. Hi, June. How are you? Thank you for being on the call. Hi, Dan. Thank you also for being on the call. So I want to share my ideas of what my conclusions. So my conclusions, you can, like I said, you can go to chadallan.net, CHADALLAN.net, or you can go to chadallan.pro, CHADALLEN.pro, and you can view the article there. And so let's talk about the conclusions, okay? Now, the conclusion is, my daughter is really trying to get into the thing. Say hi.
Hi.
Okay, back down. So funny. So let's talk about the conclusion. Now, before I talk about this and share these particular points of my objective views of what the studies do show, I want to preface this with that I am not a doctor, but I can read research, and this is not to be taken as medical advice whatsoever. So you really should be talking to your doctor if you are wanting to be treated with hydroxychloroquine or not be treated with hydroxychloroquine. You need to talk with your doctor because this is only informational only. Okay, but here is my conclusions into what I believe that the studies are really saying and what we should be reading into it as well. So here goes. Hydroxychloroquine. It's a great prophylactic drug. It's a great way for uh, you to stop and inhibit the growth of the SARS-CoV-2, the COVID-19. So it's going to work great when it's at the very beginning of stage or before you get COVID, because it could potentially stop COVID-19 from developing into anything. So this is why you are seeing a lot of doctors now that are trying to, especially in America, they are trying to get hydroxychloroquine to be over the counter. So when you think of the prophylactic side of it, this is a great prophylactic type drug to help inhibit and stop the growth of COVID-19. Once it gets going, once the COVID-19 gets going, then if it's at the lower stage of it, like the beginning stages of COVID-19, then taking the trio, like the hydroxychloroquine at the dose it should be, not at the high dose, but at the smaller dose. If you're taking that along with the azithromycin and also the zinc, then your chances of beating out COVID-19 at the early stage is quite good. I mean, it's really good. That's what the studies show, and so we should be very thankful that we have this trio to help us stop it at the beginning of the stages. Now, once uh, once the once the COVID-19 gets going and it becomes more moderate to advanced stages, especially when we start getting into the ventilator side of it, because once you get to the ventilator, it's unfortunately it's a very low chance of you coming out of the ventilator. So you have to be able to you really want to catch things before you get to the ventilator. So then that is when you're going to take the stronger antibiotic or antiviral medications and stuff like that. I believe one of them would be anyway, I can't pronounce Remdesivir, whatever it's called. But anyway, that's the drug. That's one of them. They're using plasma as well. They are there's another that they are using, and that is those. You will end up going with those more than you would with hydroxychloroquine, azithromycin, and also the zinc. But the reason why you're using zinc and hydroxychloroquine is, from my understanding, is that hydroxychloroquine is able to draw in the zinc into the cells, and so zinc is going to help it to inhibit that growth as well. And that is why hydroxychloroquine has been effective as a prophylactic in many ways. Now, I want to discuss a misnomer about those who say that there is a cure. There's a cure for COVID-19. There's a cure for this. There's a cure for that. The thing is, there's not really a cure for anything. Because if there was really a cure for COVID-19, or if there was really a cure for certain ailments or autoimmune diseases or whatever, then you would never have a relapse, or you would never have a recurrence of that particular ailment, whether it be autoimmune, whether it be COVID-19, whether it be whatever. what does happen, why people will all often say, I've been cured of this or that, is because your immune system begins to learn uh, what that particular illness is, that pathogen, that autoimmune, how it reacts. So what it does, it will, you have the T memory cells and the B cells that have the immune memory of that particular illness, whether it be COVID or autoimmune or whatever. So it knows so it learns everything about that particular pathogen so that when it were to occur again, the natural killer cells, the cytotoxic T cells, they're kind of searching out, oh, there's something here. Here's COVID-19. Let's get it right now. And then it attacks it. And those memory cells and the cytotoxic and the natural killer cells are able to get there quickly and destroy it before it even happens. So it's not that you are quote unquote cured, because there's not really a cure for anything. But what it does do is suppresses it, and your immune system has learned how to defeat that before symptoms do happen. So when you begin to have, say you get it again, you begin to have symptoms again, then it's because that your immune system is not operating at an optimal level, or it doesn't have enough memory to attack that particular illness, or there has been a mutation that has caused that infection to come back on you again. So this is why I take immune messengers myself, because I want to be able to keep my immune system up and running and at an optimal level, so that my T memory cells, my B cells, the natural killer cells, all that is being boosted, and also the memory is being implanted within my body, within my immune system, so that if COVID-19 or anything like that comes to me, well, then I have a greater chance to defeat that particular illness at the beginning stages, or if I'm fighting it now, it will suppress it quickly so that the symptoms are not so strong. And that's why I take immune messengers. That's why I promote immune messengers, because I know the positiveness of um, this particular supplement that I take, because there's nothing like it on the market, and I know for a fact that it helps me, and has helped a lot of people. So I want to thank all of you for being on the call tonight. I hope you got great value out of this particular call, and that you learned a lot about hydroxychloroquine and if it's effective or not. I may not have answered your question if it's effective or not effective, but I hope I answered enough to where you can make your own decision about whether it would be the right treatment for you when you talk to your doctor. So if you got great value out of this, please share this with your friends and family so they could also get value out of it. And if you can also visit my website at chadallen.net, CHADALLAN.net, or chadallen.pro, CHADALLEN.pro. And you can see all my blog writings there. You can also get a freebie there. If you click on the banner, you fill out your contact information, you could also get a freebie there with information on the immune messengers, on other things as well. So I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. You have a blessed day. Take care. Bye-bye.